They were doing surveying.
What's going on there too? Until you just go ahead and keep streaming that thing. And then you send something.
1.13. It's an all-time record. It's not exactly good.
No,
Because it's
No, don't do that.
late breaking as everything was that came out.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not hiding it, but I mean, you can if you want. Yeah, bring it up. It's a truth.
1/5 year the entire record.
Is it, what time is it? Are we live?
I don't think it matches.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation?
No, no.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, as we gather this evening, this council asks for strength, courage, and wisdom. We thank you for the privilege that it is to serve this fine community and the people that live here. And we ask that you continue to bless our town in the manner that you have. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Point north, nautical north. Call to order the November 2nd meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Gentlemen have had an opportunity to read the minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either approve or amend the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Dustin Gregg, 5-0. On the agenda, under unfinished business, the Motorola Solutions Agreement for the body cam and software. By our chief of police has been asked to table that as he was not able to get all the information that he wanted for that. Gentlemen, is it all right if we hear that at our next meeting, or do we want to kick the can even further?
Motion to table until our next meeting.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Dustin Gregg, 5-0. Traffic study discussion. I saw your emails back and forth that said, wow, and then I think that got their attention, didn't it?
Yeah, Councilman Williams, Councilman Cook, and myself, we met with Chet and Brad Borland from Traffic Engineers yesterday up here at the site, and we watched traffic for a while. We went over some of the things that they proposed and kind of came to a conclusion that we're going to try a couple of things that they suggested without actually tearing into the curbs and sidewalks and really doing a lot of construction. We're going to try some striping and changing the signalization on the lights and just take some small steps toward improving things. If we see improvement and it's something that we like, we'll stay with that. If it doesn't work, then obviously we'll have to revisit it and take some more steps.
Are you changing the protected arrows?
What they suggest, if we were to add arrows east and west, that would just create more lag time for the north and south traffic. They suggested having the north left turning and southbound left turning arrows at the same time instead of staging them one at a time, and that would reduce the wait time for the east and west traffic. Did I say that right?
Yeah, he said, I think his wording was they would eliminate the phasing
Right.
on Indiana Street to try to free up traffic on East and West Main. And then we also talked about, I think they still think it's a good idea to move the light pole
Right.
on the southwest corner. And I think all of their suggestions still stand with the bump outs and they talked about in the study, eliminating some of the medians down here in favor of or turn lanes on Indiana Street in front of Kroger. But as far as that intersection goes, we talked about not taking out any parking spaces or anything right at this moment.
Right.
And trying.
Some of their suggestion was to shave the bump outs back a little bit and eliminate parking spots on the northbound lane of Indiana Street. We didn't think that we wanted to try that right now. We'll try some minor striping of the lane and changing the traffic signalization.
And he did say that they would put, at least verbally, he recommended that we put signs. I asked the question about putting signs up on the mast of the poles,
Right.
so that you could see what the lanes were designated for from farther back. He did recommend that, I think. And then he said that we could visit the turn arrows on East and West Main if this solution didn't work. He wasn't totally against it, he just wasn't for it until we try this. That's kind of the gist I got. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's how I took it. He's going to send us a sketch to take a look at before we do anything.
I was just gonna say, make sure you have it in writing from them under their signature, just because of liability purposes.
So I expect a sketch from him hopefully this week, and we'll bring it back, take a look at it.
One other thing to add, he talked about computer modeling. That's what it recommended for maximum traffic flow in the intersection. They look at all of the traffic loads all day long, and it recommends through a computer model. So I don't know, but he did bring that up.
All in all, I thought it was a great meeting. He took plenty of time, listened to us, answered our questions, and yeah, I think we'll try a few things that they suggest and hopefully see some improvement.
You're going to run north and south arrows at the same time? Do we have 3 lanes of traffic that we can use on southbound Indiana? Is that where you were talking about?
Yeah, so the arrow to turn left if you're headed south on Indiana, and the arrow to turn left if you're headed north, those will allow traffic to go at the same times.
Do we have 3 lanes of traffic on southbound Indiana?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't
Yes,
think we
yes,
did.
we've got the southbound lane, then we've got a turn lane and a through lane. Is that right?
Not on Indiana.
Not on Indiana?
You do go north.
You going north, but I don't know how he's going to time
Okay,
those.
I'm sorry. I have misunderstood your question. On South Indiana Street, south of Main Street, there's 3 lanes. But north of Main Street, there's only 2 lanes.
But how's he going to put a protected left? How's he going to do that?
I'll have to take a look at the sketch. I seen it in my mind. Yeah,
Do you guys remember how he was?
Words where
how
he
was-
eliminates the phasing.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I remember him saying from the conversation.
Yeah, so I'll have to take a look at the sketch. I was able to,
He did want to add a turn lane like you're talking, where you're talking, but it would require more parking spaces being removed in that corridor. And
Yeah, you would remove all 5, I believe. There's 5 spots.
Yeah,
there.
and
You would
I-
wipe them all out. Yeah, it'd be catastrophic downtown,
not since
believe it or not.
in that corridor it would.
Well, can we go ahead? Do you mind? What did you find out on the truck?
truck route. Yeah, they put that sign up there to replace our sign that they took down. It was intended to keep trucks from turning and heading north on Monroe Street. So, I think my latest email, I told him that we'd like to take that down and direct our trucks up to that intersection. But he hasn't responded to that yet, but, I don't know if he needs to.
We talked about that as well, from Hendricks County line or Morgan County line, whatever you want to call it. all the way up to High Street being a truck route. And I asked him specifically if we needed to add that to the traffic study to get the protections that Jewel wants us to have through and he said he didn't feel like we needed that for that corridor. I don't know how you feel about it, but
Not putting any sign or doing anything with traffic unless we have something from them.
okay. Well,
Because the MUTCD controls everything. I mean, it's the manual, any signage, any traffic flow, any speed limits, it controls everything. So I don't want anything put up unless it is their recommendation under the MUTCD analysis.
he seemed to have no problem with it. So we that corridor is in the traffic study, but not all the way up to High. It goes to Main. So we would need to somehow have them add that section.
Just a stamped letter stating that it's approved.
Their opinion, yep.
That 300 feet eliminates a quarter of a mile of headache. Because that's what we're doing.
He didn't see a problem with that at all. So, that I could tell.
Yeah, I think he would sign off on that. Fairly easily.
What's at issue is still not the local deliveries. The local deliveries are going to happen.
Right.
But where we have trouble is we took a state highway, we absorbed it into the town. All GPS systems are still going to show it as a state highway. So what we've got is we've got the trucks coming through downtown. I still say we don't even have to move that pole if we can get that truck turning that direction out of that downtown area. They made the Monroe and High truck navigable wide enough by state standard.
And he even talked about striping that corner off to prevent that. I mean, nothing that would stop cars from pulling up to the right-hand side, but making the truck stay in the far left lane on the yellow to make that wide right turn. He was going to even put that in the sketch also.
If we could direct them to Monroe, to High Street.
Sure.
eliminate
Right.
them.
Right.
Can we put a sign there that says no left turn, trucks over 16,000 pounds? And by omission, not put no truck straight through?
We have a sign there.
You have a sign, no left turn.
We have a sign, no trucks, with no left-turn trucks.
I think you need to make it clear where 67 and 144 are, like with signs that say 67 this way, 67 this way, 144 this way, 42 this way. Because they're looking to get to 67 in most cases. But I think you'd be surprised how much local delivery is by semi. I see them in our downtown all the time. Right here at Marco's, we have 5 gas stations in the corridor, you know, when you think of Circle K and right here at Dairyland, but even downtown in the old historic district, I see them delivering to my tenants. I see them delivering down there all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't stop that.
No. But I think you're going to find out that they're going to still hang up on the pole. But that's just my opinion on that. I mean, we could try it and see.
See what you get in writing.
Thank you.
New business, Lockerbie Semi Trucks, Sabrina Wilson. Dave, do you know anything about this?
Yeah, last Sunday, there was a wreck on I-70, and it diverted a ton of traffic through Mooresville. And a lot of the trucks, again, were cutting corners, not intentionally, but they would get into areas that they're not supposed to be. And the old Mills house on Lockerbie and South, they got way over into her yard and did a lot of damage. So she called me and wanted to know if we could do anything, and I apologized, but I told her we couldn't work on private property, so she wanted to know what I could do. I said, well, I can't do anything. So she wanted something done. I said, well, come to the council and see,
Are you sure that's not in a right-of-way of some sort? It's right there on the road, isn't it? I've seen it, it's pretty bad.
They got off into her yard 15, 20 feet. I think our right-of-way is 5 feet off the edge of the road there.
The owner of the property contacted me and said a lot of the damage was done during the High Street construction as well. Can we approach NDOT about it, or? That's Jared Overton that owns the house.
I think this particular incident that she was talking to was the truck ruts out into her yard.
Yeah, they've been there for a while.
Yeah, she said this has happened 3 times since she's lived there.
Yeah.
So probably during construction of High Street, it may have happened too.
I'm wondering, Jewel made the comment, if that happened, if she said that happened mainly, or most of it during the construction, which I'm sure it did, is the way that was, we can send them to NDOT, just like you said.
That's what Jared Overton told me, and he owns the house. She's a tenant there, I think.
I can send the foreman from NDOT an email tomorrow stating that there was damage done to this yard. Glad to do it.
Did anybody get the identity of the trucks, or?
She didn't on this one. The first 2 she did.
I mean, there should be some liability there.
I don't know if Mr. Overton was able to collect from that but she wasn't able to catch this truck.
Next item, new debt reduction. I think you had that put on there, Dustin.
Yeah, so I asked this at the last meeting, asked it to be on the agenda. Tom, you explained this before and wanted to give it another go. If you could kind of go through it for the public benefit and then see if the council has any appetite for this. We have a lot of expenses. We're talking big numbers, and
We may have, and the numbers that I have, I did not check to see if we had made any additional payments. We may have made a payment on the on the Motorola, because it was due on the 1st of last month. So that may be down some there. And just the thought process was to come back with paying off those 2 financial obligations, the leases on the 2 fire trucks and the dispatch equipment. Those numbers are, I think, fair and accurate, but we would have to get those nailed down by Diana. Was also to transfer money into the rainy day fund. In the interim after that, we have come up with dump trucks, street sweepers, things that or one-time purchases that we could spend out of that $789,000 and just reduce the amount transferred into the rainy day fund. I know that Banning had sent an email discussing the MPO application, and if we can start to build that rainy day fund up a little bit, we could very easily pay our $400,000 match out of that rainy day fund if that project is approved. The health insurance fund, that was just looking at some way to help to retain and attract our employees. Everything else in that list is just giving the numbers of what actually what that does to us. That transfer of those funds at that time would have left us with a operating balance, assuming that we spend every dime in this year's budget, of 45%. operating balance with our approved budget of 43.78% at the end of 2022, assuming that we spend every dime of those budgets.
So with your proposal, we could fund some of these big ticket items that we were talking about.
If
or
we,
have been.
if we chose to fund those instead of transferring it into the rainy day fund, which would be fantastic. That would also free up the money out of the LOIT and out of the CCD for any future purchases that we have there. I know that we talked about cars, we've talked about the K-9 unit, we've talked about a lot of things that could be funded out of the LOIT fund.
I'm totally not against this discussion at all, but I would say that we've got the capital improvement plan on the next meeting agenda. And to me, you should wrap all of this into that plan if it gets passed. That way you have the advice of a financial advisor throughout the process. On any, I mean, I don't want to do something that hamstrings us, but I've got no problem with looking at it all.
I did run this past our financial advisor before I presented it, so I don't have a problem with that at all. I think we have before us tonight one of the major purchases. So, you know, we can wait.
Well, when you talk about putting money in the rainy day fund, where's that coming from? Cash reserves?
Yes.
It's whether it's in that fund or it's cash reserves, we've got the money.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's not a big secret to me or a big thing to me, but I think because we don't have a capital improvement plan, the street sweeper snuck up on us and we're backed in a corner with it. But
I'm not sure we're entirely backed into a corner on it, but I got your point there.
yeah, so anyway, that's the way I look at it. But as far as paying everything else off, I would rather have it into an overall capital improvement plan where you can see the overall picture of what these projects like Banning's, you know, sent you a email about the MPO project, then you've got Indiana Street and any other projects that are going on or thought about, and then you've got all these capital improvements and equipment purchases, vehicles, police cars, whatever else. That way, when you do make a decision to pay something off, it's in the context of the entire town rather than just a proposal that you've had reviewed. I mean, I can send the financial advisor an email with a proposal and she says, yes, that'll work, but it's in the context of the proposal I send her, not in the context of what is before us as a town council in totality. So that's the reason I think we need a plan, and this is the perfect way to go about what you're trying to do, in my opinion.
Jeffrey, any comment? Greg? Dustin? I'm still making calls on the capital improvement plan. That's what I'd asked. That's why I'd asked for a couple of meetings. So if we've put this one off long enough, we can wait 2 more weeks, in my opinion. I mean, that's up to you. It's up to this council.
Okay. Motion table this discussion until the next meeting.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Dustin, Greg, 5-0. Department heads. Anybody? Not everybody at once. Nothing? Nothing? You've already done your damage? Legal.
All right, now I guess I'll talk a little bit. The street sweeper, I've reviewed it. I'm okay with it. It is one of the sourcing abilities that you have under the state statutes, and so I'm good moving forward with this if you guys are comfortable with the price. So I'll hand that back to you. I didn't do a good enough job explaining to Ashley, and, you know, coming from Carmel, they're not used to these sorts of things. They just buy things, so.
So that is a bidding that has been
It has already been
officially
pre-bid through a certain process that you are allowed to essentially piggyback on. It's like the state bids on vehicles and things of that nature.
So we aren't doing a disservice by going through this process?
No, it's actually cheaper.
Okay. I like that. Thank you.
Dave, we need this. We fulfill our obligations of our Rule 13. We sweep all the streets. My big question, or my big concern was that we can get in, and you said Roberson had trimmed their trees back to where this will fit in there. It has one engine or two?
This is a single engine machine. Yeah.
And we do that once a year, all of the streets,
We sweep the entire town once a year.
parade route twice a year,
Yes,
and downtown
every Monday
week.
morning.
Every Monday morning. And that is Monroe to the railroad tracks?
From Monroe Street to the railroad tracks. Sometimes we go on out to 67, probably once a month. Then we'll do Indiana Street from Williams Drive to 67. Once a month, I think he goes on up to County Line Road. He sweeps Washington Street and High Street every Monday morning.
And High Street?
There was an agreement made with the state years ago for the town to sweep High Street. I don't know what we get out of it, but
Clean streets?
Street, yeah.
Once a month.
I don't think they pay us for it, though.
Who made that deal?
I think Mr. Bikeman had something.
Dave, I know we talked about it, and I might not have had time, but have you had time we discussed using it more with hiring the new employee that we haven't replaced in a while, and this new equipment? Are you going to run it more?
That's I mean, yeah, if the council directs us to run it more, or if we have time,
Because I know we discussed running it more as well as training more people to
Yeah.
run it.
we have trained more people to run street sweepers than we have in the past. And there's a lot of time in the spring that, you know, we get warm spells, we can get the salt and sand picked up more often than we do. And in the fall, we can run it additionally there too as well. So, it's definitely
What are the limitations on when you can use it? Are there any?
well, we don't want to run it when it's below freezing. It does use water to keep the dust down,
So it just leave ice behind it?
and we don't want the tank to freeze up either.
Yeah.
In the machine.
I think if you have opportunity to use it more, use it more. That's what I think.
Did you save that truck for us? Did you hang a sold sign from the mirror?
I told him we were postponing delivery, so.
Postponing delivery. Comments or questions?
Dave.
It's 175 horse John Deere?
No, this is
Cummins.
Cummins, okay, good.
175 horse, I got that part right.
no. 135, they changed with engines and DEF and everything else involved these days. They changed a lot. So they used to be 115 horse John Deere. They've upgraded that to
Tier 4.
Do you not want it if it's only 135 horse?
Yeah, we still need a street sweeper. I think it's probably the most powerful one we can get right now.
Comments or questions? Before us, also in the packet was funding options. We had something that was sent to us from Huntington Bank and also something from Citizens Bank. If you let the police department drive this, we can maybe pay for it with Lowit. Do you have a problem with that? He's not here.
Get it paid for, so I can buy a dump truck.
Yeah, I saw that
Don't
too.
need them coming to get it, do we? What kind of warranty does it have on, well, that'd be a factory warranty on the emissions?
Correct that. 1 year,
That's a Cummins, yeah, it's a Cummins warranty. We warranty everything other than the Cummins.
Right, yeah. What's their warranty on the
I think it's 1 year.
emissions?
Yeah. On the itself and finish.
it's a nightmare. It's, but can't get away from it.
Get it deleted?
Yeah. We're in straight pipes.
And what's CCD? Put numbers in.
Man, I feel like you're flying blind, but how do I?
Make sure everything being paid out of that. Right. Any novel ideas on how to pay for this? Jeff? Shane?
Got cash.
Right.
Do you think that hours-wise, we could attribute half the time to stormwater? Rule 13 compliancy?
I would think that that would be easily justifiable. Sweeping the street gutters, keeping that debris from going into the creeks and streams.
Okay, I guess we have 3 questions. First off, do we want to buy a street sweeper? Second off, who do we want to finance it through? And then how we want to fund it.
If we finance it, does it become, assuming, I'm making the assumption that we do a capital improvement plan, then that debt would go into that plan and go into your calculations and the financial advisor calculations as to what we pay off when. In other words, we could pay it off if we want to.
At any point in time, if we found another use. But that's why I was thinking if we funded, let's say, for example, we went with semi-annual payments.
Yeah.
And we paid the first payment with food and beverage because it's stormwater. And then we paid the second one out of a CCD fund because we have $100,000 budgeted in there. It takes it, other than the CCD, I mean, it kind of takes it out of his MVH obligation. And it's consistent funding. Or, I guess the other side of it is we pay it all off, just buy it. Pay half of it out of food and beverage because of the use to the stormwater, and pay the rest of it out of another source. There was some